Coming up on Locked on Rams, the one rumor that refuses to go away.
You are Locked on Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked on Rams your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, both on your podcast feed, free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course our Locked on Rams YouTube channel. Subscribe to that if you like to watch me talk in a room about the Rams. Then this is the place for you, so you can check that out as well. My name is Travis Rodgers. I've hosted the Rams pregame show and halftime show since they've returned to Los Angeles way back in 2016, the defending Super Bowl champs. We get to say that for the next year or so as well. And that kind of brings us right to where we want to get started today, right? The one thing, the one story, the one rumor that refuses to die, that got a little bit of a run, had a little bit of legs right before the Super Bowl, and then after the Super Bowl was immediately asked, and then it felt like it died down a little bit at the parade, but yet here we are again. Will Sean McVay go to the TV booth? Will Sean McVay decide that at 36 years old, he wants to walk away from the Rams? He wants to go do the next thing. He wants to go to TV. He wants to start a family. He wants to spend time with his wife-to-be. They're scheduled to get married this summer. Does he want to go do that, or does he want to go and coach football the way that he has basically his entire life, certainly his entire adult life? Peter King wrote about this. Peter King speculated that Sean McVay might be able to make upwards of $15 million a year as an analyst for one of the television networks that covers the league. It's a lot of money. Obviously, that would be more than Tony Romo reportedly. Tony Romo's kind of at the top of the heap with that, and then McVay might be able to top him without ever having to do it. I understand the allure of the money. I am not saying that walking away or not even listening to a pitch about a $15 million a year job would be easy. It would be incredibly difficult. I get that. Sean McVay is going to get a raise from the Rams. I don't know if he gets to $15 million a year. Probably, almost certainly he would not, but he will get a raise that'll put him in a position to make a lot of money as a head coach of an NFL team. Television's not going anywhere. Television is going to be here calling these games, broadcasting these games, analyzing these games for a very, very long time. Sean McVay does not strike me as somebody whose star is going to dim significantly over the next 2 seasons, 5 seasons, 10 seasons. So television will always be there. Here's the other part that I don't think anybody's fully grasping about this. Why? Why go do it? Just for money? Sean McVay does not seem to me a guy that is exclusively driven by money. So I think that if the Rams can get somewhere in the neighborhood of whatever TV might be paying him, and 2/3, half, whatever it might be, that would be an incredible amount of money for an NFL head coach, then the money's going to take care of itself. The money will always be there for somebody like McVay. It's not that this is your one opportunity to go get it or it goes away forever. Now, obviously, he's hot right now. Obviously, he's somebody that networks would have a great deal of interest in. I really don't think that's going to win. So let's put the money aside for a second, or the opportunity aside for a second. There's this. Does Sean McVay strike you as somebody that's going to be really excited about calling one game a week, that he could get ready to call the Bucks and the Saints on a Monday night game? Does that feel like that he's going to get his juices flowing like that? It sure doesn't to me. You've watched Sean McVay. I've watched Sean McVay. You've seen him in interviews. You've seen him on the sidelines. You've seen him go 50 yards into the tunnel to chase down one of his receivers after a touchdown pass. Does that look like somebody who's not fully invested in what they're doing and getting a great deal of enjoyment out of what they're doing? He's an unbelievably passionate, enthusiastic, explosive guy. You're not going to get that in TV. Drawing up another guy's play on the telestrator is not going to juice you the way that coaching your own team is going to juice you. I don't get the idea of, well, I want to spend time with this family. I get it. Look, I have children myself. When they're little, it's actually the time you can still go do a lot of things because they don't need you. It's when they get into their early part of their, toddlers, right? 7, 8, 9. And then beyond that, they need you. They need you around. They need you for things like that. When they're babies, you can go coach while they're babies. Your wife may not like it. Your wife probably needs you around a little bit more, but he can go do those sorts of things. And then there's this. And this is the part to me that I don't think he is the youngest head coach to win a Super Bowl. He is the youngest head coach to be in the NFL right now. Still, Sean McVay's been a head coach in the league for 5 years. He's 36 years old, and he's still the youngest coach in the league. You think being the youngest guy in the Monday Night Football booth or Sunday night or whatever it is, hey, who cares about that, right? These other things are meaningful. And then there's this. There's only a couple of handfuls of guys that have won more than 2 Super Bowls. Sean McVay has won at 36 years old. Let's go down the list of guys that have won more than one of these things. Bill Belichick's at the top of the heap with 6. I'm not going to be crazy here and say he can run down Bill Belichick because that run they had over 20 years is probably never going to happen again. That they were in the Super Bowl more or less every other season for 20 years is not going to happen again. I don't expect Sean McVay to get to 6. But some of these other names on the list, Chuck Noll's next at 4. Okay, 4 is a lot, certainly. He's been to 2 in 5 years. It's 1-1. 2 in 5 years and 1-1. 4 doesn't seem totally out of the question. After that, you've got a couple of guys with 3. Joe Gibbs and Bill Walsh, 2 Hall of Famers. 3. He's been to 2. He's 36 years old. What are the expectations of how this thing is going to go next? It doesn't make any sense to me why he would walk away. He's got 2 in 36 years. Joe Gibbs won 3 of these things. Bill Walsh won 3. Joe Gibbs and Bill Walsh are on the short list of when if you ask somebody who is the best NFL head coach to ever do this, Walsh's name is coming up. Joe Gibbs' name is coming up. They have 3. Sean McVay has 1 and he's 36 years old. After that, it's a bunch of guys with 2. And I shouldn't even say a bunch. There's a couple of handfuls of guys with 2. Listen to the names of the guys that have won 2 Super Bowls. Don Shula, Tom Landry, Bill Parcells, Vince Lombardi, the guy with his name on the trophy that they hand out at the end of this thing. He only got 2 of these things. I get it. A lot of it was pre-Super Bowl for him. I understand that, but 2. All right. Tom Flores with the Raiders has 2. Jimmy Johnson with the Cowboys has 2. George Seifert, by the way, caught me by surprise. He had a couple with the 49ers along the way. And then you've got Mike Shanahan has a couple with the Broncos, and Tom Coughlin had a couple with the New York Giants. Shanahan, Coughlin, Seifert, Jimmy Johnson was the only one of these guys that was relatively young when he decided to bounce, when he went to TV, when he went to Miami. But there was personality conflicts going on there with Stan Kroenke, right? There was a whole bunch of other things going on in the universe that led to him leaving the Cowboys, or he may have gotten a few more along the way. The Cowboys were cranked up. Barry Switzer came in and grabbed one out of nowhere. Let me say it again. Sean McVay is 36 years old. He has 2 Super Bowl appearances. He has 1 Super Bowl championship. You mean to tell me he's going to go do TV? It's $15 million a year. Okay, I get it. $15 million a year is a ton. Stan Kroenke has money. I don't think he's going to go $15 million a year, but if they can get close enough, if they can talk him in to saying, to staying, Sean McVay wants to be one of those guys. Sean McVay wants to be on the list with Bill Walsh. He wants to be on the list with Joe Gibbs and Chuck Noll. I wouldn't be surprised if in the back of his mind he says, Belichick's got 6. Okay, watch this. Bill Belichick's nearly 70. Sean McVay is 36 years old. I really don't see him leaving anytime soon, and I really don't see him leaving while the team still has an opportunity to be good year after year after year. If this was a 36-year-old guy who caught it at the exact right time, and all of a sudden they popped up out of nowhere and won a Super Bowl. Like let's say he's Zach Taylor, and this team pops up and you win the Super Bowl and you're won and you got it and it's very early and you're thinking, look, we got it, but I'm looking at the lay of the land in the AFC. I'm looking at the rest of my team. I know I got the quarterback. I know I got the wide receiver, but this does not feel sustainable over the next 8-10 years. It's not the Rams situation. The Rams, from the moment he's got here, he's put 5 seasons in his back pocket, one better than the next. Leave to go do TV? Why? Money? He's going to get money. To spend time with your family? Okay. Does Sean McVay seem like he's going to be happy walking through the park, talking with other dads? Oh, what did you do? Well, I do nothing. I stay at home, and once a week I go call a game on ESPN. What do you do? Oh, I work for an insurance company. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, he's the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, and they've got a chance to go to the Super Bowl over and over and over again. Why wouldn't he want to stay and do it? Money's not a good enough reason. This is a guy that lives on the juice, and that juice isn't going anywhere unless you're on the sidelines, calling games, writing up game plans, making a decision on which play it is, making a call. Do you go? Do you challenge? Do you not go? Do you play? All of the things that head coaches get to do. You don't get to do that in the booth. Go ask those guys. They miss a lot of it. If you're 65, I get it. You're tired. You put 40 years into this thing. It's time to move on. He's 36. Come on, man. He's not going anywhere. All right, so you look around the rest of the NFL, there's one thing that the Rams do not have that other teams have, and it's a very good thing. We'll talk about that coming up next, but not before we talk about Bet Online. I don't like saying this part. Football season is over for now, but basketball is in full bloom. And of course, you got pro ball, you've got college hoops from all the latest odds, the totals, the player performance props, everything you need. Fired coaches, where are they going to land next? BetOnline.net is the number one spot for all your sports betting needs. And BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this entire season, whatever season you're into. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, UFC odds, across to Olympics and everything else that you could possibly ever want. Head on over to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Thanks for making Locked On Rams your first listen every day. Make sure you're following Locked On the NFL, Locked On Experts, covering the biggest stories from around the NFL every Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. It is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, make sure you subscribe, or I should say, click that subscribe button along the way so you get Locked On Rams in your feed every single day. Great deal of appreciation in you doing that for us here at the Locked On Podcast Network. All right, so let's talk a little bit about something that the Rams do not have, that it seemingly is in it's pretty abundant across the rest of the NFL, and the Rams have been pretty lucky in that they have not had to deal with much, if any, of this along the way. Drama. Right? What happened late last night on social media? Maybe it was early this morning. Aaron Rodgers got into his feelings and posted some stuff on, I think it was Instagram. Who cares? Doesn't matter. And talked about how he wanted to say thank you to his now, I guess, ex, Shailene Woodley. Thank you for allowing me to chase you. And then he talked about loving all the guys in the quarterback room. And then he talked about the Friday night group, and they would go and hang out, I guess. And then, of course, the football, and thank you. And, oh, by the way, while you're at it, why don't you read a book? Peace and love, Aaron Rodgers. See you later. So what exactly was that? What exactly was the impetus to put something like that on there? And I'll tell you exactly what it was. It's hey, I'm over here. Aaron Rodgers, right here. Look at me. That's his deal. And that's fine. That can be his deal, but it's a lot, and it's a little distracting along the way. It's certainly something that is not beneficial to the team. Look, let's cut to the white meat on this. Aaron Rodgers has been in the league a long time. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league a long time. He's won multiple MVPs. He's been to the Super Bowl as many times as Jared Goff and Matt Ryan and Trent Dilfer and a whole bunch. And I know he's better than those guys. I get it. He's been once. Matthew Stafford went 1 for 1 once he was on a functioning team. 1 for 1. Aaron Rodgers has been on a functioning team really from the moment he came into the league. And certainly since Brett Favre retired and unretired and went to the Jets and went to the Vikings and everything else, he's been a big part of what they've done, and they function. They've been good every single year. But his need to be looked at, his need to be the center of attention, the topic of discussion really at all times is really peculiar. I mean, we're going to look at you're Aaron Rodgers. You're the MVP. We're going to look at you no matter what. Let's talk about what Kyler Murray did a couple of weeks ago, where he got into his feelings and went on Instagram and unfollowed the Cardinals in the greatest power move any seventh grader has ever seen. It's just like, really? That's how you're going to, you do know that you're an NFL quarterback, right? I mean, you could basically pick up your phone or have your agent pick up the phone and say, Kyler's a little uncertain about what's going on here. He'd like to have a meeting with the general manager, with the team president, with the owner of the team. You know how long it would take to get that meeting? Maybe a day, maybe 2 tops. Hey, Kyler's upset. Let's get him in here. Let's talk him through what we're thinking. Let's go make sure he knows where our heads are. Let's go do it. Or I'm going to follow you on social media. What's the better option there? I get it. He's a 20-something-year-old guy. He's young. He's inexperienced. He might not know how to go about navigating these sorts of things. If you're going to be the quarterback of a team, you better figure it out. The Rams don't have drama. The Rams drama ends fast. The very few times they have it, they get rid of that stuff in a hurry. Really, there's been one story that's had kind of that, hey, what's going on here feel of it. And they cut it out as quickly as they could. Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley was the best running back in football for a couple of years. Was the reason that first version, the Sean McVay's first season, the reason the Rams were as explosive and dangerous as they were is because Todd Gurley was that good. He was an MVP candidate. Probably could have won the MVP that year. He was right there. And then not so much. And then the next year, okay, what's going on with Todd? Why isn't Todd playing? Why isn't Todd on the field? Why aren't they throwing the ball to Todd? What's going on with Todd? And Todd really wasn't saying anything. And then people started to read Todd Gurley's body language on the sidelines and try to decode his feelings about this, that there was something in the air between Todd Gurley and Sean McVay. And then Todd Gurley was gone. And then Todd Gurley was down the road. Okay, they just paid him a ton of money, and the Rams said, we're not doing this. Part of it's a football decision, for sure. He wasn't performing at a high level. They decided they needed to get better at that position. They decided that they needed to do something different there. But you can't tell me that part of it wasn't, you know what? No, we're not doing this. See ya. Gone. Todd Gurley, gone. They don't mess around with stuff like that. They've brought some other guys in to the organization, and when it works, great. Let's use two wide receivers that they brought in this season. They brought in Deshaun Jackson during the offseason, who was going to be the deep threat, and he was. And that's how they use him. They throw him the ball once or twice a game down the field, hit a big touchdown in one of the games. Great. He decides, you know what, I'm not really feeling this role. And the Rams said, cool, dude, awesome, bye. We'll try to figure it out. Not let him, poison the well. None of those things. You're not feeling your role? Okay, cool. Well, this is the role. You sure you're not feeling it? I'm not feeling it. Bye. Okay, down the road. Odell comes in. Odell may have had as a complicated of a reputation as anybody in the league. Odell Beckham's reputation was, I think he's pretty good, but man, in New York, kind of a hothead. And then he goes to Cleveland, and he's kicking the net, and he's crying on the sidelines, and he's carrying on, and he's not getting the ball. He's not scoring touchdowns. Nothing's happening. He's constantly unhappy. The quarterback has to talk about him all the time. The head coach has to talk about him all the time. He's not playing all that. It's just nothing about it works. And the Rams bring him over. What did you hear from him? Nothing. Other than touchdown LA. Other than Odell Beckham with a first down catch. Other than Odell is cooking in the Super Bowl and was on track to maybe be on that MVP list until he got hurt late in the second quarter. Not a peep from Odell. All you hear is great teammate, great guy, great wide receiver. Really nice to get him with a team and a quarterback and a head coach that knows how to use him. Go Odell. That didn't take long. Rams aren't messing around with this stuff. The Rams are not messing around with the drama. Is he coming or is he going? Is he happy? Is he unhappy? Is the look at me? Is there anybody on the Rams? Maybe a little bit of Jalen Ramsey, but it's pretty chill, right? The look at me thing. Aaron Donald's not like that. Von Miller's not like that. Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford are not like that. They just don't have a lot of guys that are about. Robert Woods is nothing like that. They don't have that on this team. And I think it's an incredible testament to the way that they go about doing their stuff. It's extraordinary. They do not tolerate nonsense. And if I guess maybe if Aaron Donald hit his head one day and woke up and started acting differently than he has his entire life, maybe find a way to deal with it because I got to deal with Aaron Donald. I got to keep him here. But so far, the Rams have been extraordinary when it comes to finding ways to have quiet, peace, the right kind of quiet. Let's go to work. Let's get stuff done. Let's get a little better. Let's win this game. We're not dealing with social media nonsense and go read a book like Aaron Rodgers. Dude, I got a library card. Thanks. I don't need Aaron Rodgers to tell me to go mix in a book once in a while. Thank you, boy genius. Thank you very, very much. I'll read the books that I want to read when I want to read them. I don't need the quarterback of the Packers telling me to go pick up a book along the way. I'm good, Aaron. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so the Rams are Super Bowl champions, and is there somebody we haven't thanked yet that we're supposed to? There may be a pretty big name out there. I'll tell you who that is and why we should thank him. That's coming up next, but not before Rock Auto. Rock Auto. You've seen the commercials on TV, right? Save time and money When you use Rock Auto, why choose to spend so much more for the same parts from a chain store or a dealership? Let me give you an example. Honda Odyssey, right? A fuel pump for your car, $353 from a chain store. You know how much it costs at Rock Auto? $216. You don't want to put 140 some odd dollars in your pocket? I would think you would. Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for 20 years along the way. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car. Write Locked On in the How Did You Hear About Us section, and that way they know that we sent you there. That's good for you. That's good for us. Everybody wins. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Okay, so I heard something interesting the other day about who is at least partially responsible for the Rams being as good and as sustainably good as they've been in the last 5 years under Sean Mcvay. And I hadn't heard it put quite like this before. And when I heard it, I'm like, wow, that's a pretty good idea. That's pretty spot on. You know who should get a lot of credit for where the Rams are right now? He hasn't carried the ball. He hasn't thrown a pass. He hasn't made a tackle. He hasn't done any of those things in decades. Still looks like he could, but he hasn't. Eric Dickerson. Eric Dickerson's one of the great Rams of all time. One of the great running backs of all time, right? Still looks like he could go. He just looks amazing. Good for you, ED. Go way back. Way back when the Rams first came here from St. Louis. Jeff Fisher's the head coach. We're not going to have any more of that 7-9 BS, like he said. Yeah, no, you didn't. You went 4-12. So I guess you were right about that. But do you remember one of the very first things that happened when they got here? They're playing at the Coliseum, and there was beef. There was beef between the Rams, specifically Jeff Fisher, and one of their all-time great, Eric Dickerson. Eric, look, I've said this before. You're going to hear me say this a lot. The St. Louis Rams, while incredibly successful and with a rich history of incredible players, you've got Orlando Pace, you've got Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk and Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and all of these great players along the way, right? I get it. Those guys in LA, they weren't part of our collective sports culture. Eric Dickerson was. Eric Dickerson played for the Los Angeles Rams. Eric Dickerson played at the Big A and was the greatest running back in the league at the time. Eric Dickerson was the man. Okay, Eric Dickerson has a lot of fans here in Los Angeles. And Jeff Fisher gets in this weird tit for tat with ED over sideline access, over criticizing the team on the radio and whatever. I mean, huh? First of all, Jeff Fisher's been a coach in this league at that point 20 plus years. You can't have somebody going on the radio and saying, hey, I don't think he's doing a good job. That gets under your skin. Okay. I mean, I guess nobody likes it, but give me a break. You're Jeff Fisher. You're going to have you go 4-12. You go 7-9 every single. People are going to say, you know what? That's not good enough. Eric Dickerson gets into it with him. It goes public. It goes public to the point where he's saying, I'm not going any more Rams games as long as that guy's here. I'm not doing anything about this. And then the Rams, of course, have a terrible season. They go 4-12. And Jeff Fisher's down the road. And now Jeff Fisher, I believe, is in the USFL. Thank you. Thank you, Eric Dickerson. Thank you for getting into that. Thank you, Jeff Fisher, for taking the bait, or however you want to describe it, because that was an incredibly bad move. As opposed to just, hey, come on in, hang out on the sidelines, here are your passes. How many you need? 4? Cool, here's 8. Go wild. Have 4 more for whoever you want to have them. He's on the radio. Yeah, ED. Yeah, I get where he's coming. We got to play better. We got to do better. To engage with Eric Dickerson to the point where people have to pick sides, to the point where I got news for you. Unless your last name is Fisher, nobody's picking Jeff Fisher's side against Eric Dickerson. It's not happening, right? So this was an incredibly poor idea, an incredibly bad fight to pick. You're brand new here. You're struggling for relevancy. The team stinks. You're going to pick a fight with Eric Dickerson. And to Eric Dickerson's everlasting credit, he didn't just, brush it off. It's one of those things, a little disagreement between former colleagues and former NFL players. It doesn't happen. It's not a big deal. I'm a Ram for late. He didn't do that. I ain't going until he's gone. Okay. Well, guess what? Bye. Bye, Jeff Fisher. See you later. Go trim your mustache in perpetuity in Montana or the USFL or wherever it is you're going right now, because they're going to go find a way to make sure that Eric Dickerson's a part of this family. You see him around all the time. You see him at games. You hear him on the radio. You see him on TV. He's Eric Dickerson. Pick a fight with ED. What that would be like is 20 years from now, 15 years from now, long after he's stopped playing, long after he's put a gold jacket on those very broad shoulders of his, that whoever the coach of the Rams is in the year 2043 decides, I want to get into it with Aaron Donald. Really? That's who you want to pick a fight with? Because everybody right now that's a part of this Ram family right now that's watching this team week in and week out is not picking anybody other than Aaron Donald in any sort of squabble. And that's what Jeff Fisher didn't get. And that's why Eric Dickerson deserves an incredible thank you for doing what he did for the Rams way back when nobody knew what was happening at the time, because Jeff Fisher is gone, Sean Mcvay is in, and then in the last 5 years, we all know what happened, which is 5 years of winning football, 2 Super Bowl appearances, a Super Bowl championship last year, and going into another season here in a few months, that the expectations are going to be very high. Eric Dickerson has, at least tangentially, a little bit of a thumbprint on that along the way. All right, thanks again for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single day. My name is Travis Rodgers. Click that subscribe button. Make sure that you get Locked On Rams in your podcast free every single day. Your team every single day. Now, for your second listen, make sure that you do Locked On the Draft, right? Ryan Tracy and former NFL cornerback Eric Crocker bring the NFL Draft to life every single day with insight and analysis on college prospects and NFL front offices. It is also free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.